Hey, let's just jump right in. Good morning, and thank you guys so much for being here. I am so super stoked about who we've got with us today, and it's going to be awesome. I can promise you that. Listen, I'm a leader. I was talking with a leader throughout EXP in the organization, and they said, you've got to talk to this guy. And let me tell you, I reached out to him, and as gracious as he was, he afforded me the opportunity to spend about an hour with him. And I took so many notes, which is why I got to the end and I was like, would you please come to our call? Now, there's something about that. He's actually like 3 hours behind. So it's like 5:30 in the morning where he's at. So thank you so much for being here. But listen, without getting into this too terribly much, let me just tell you who we've got. So listen, we've got a former professional windsurfer and 3-time national champion. So that's actually what we're going to learn today is how to windsurf. I don't know how exactly you do that through Zoom, but maybe we can figure it out. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, listen, he is actually an amazing realtor and leader, was top 1% with RE/MAX. He's had other various leadership roles throughout the real estate industry. He later built 10 successful Keller Williams franchise, going on to become the #1 Keller Williams franchise, or the largest franchise in the nation. He's currently a success coach and a consultant to many folks in the industry. And now and of course, he's an EXP agent and leads an organization of over 850 agents. That's all I'm going to say. If he wants to tell you some more, he's awesome. I'm so excited. Get ready to take notes. And of course, if you've got any questions, please save them till the end or just throw them in the chat. He said that he'd have no problem addressing and getting to all of your answers. So anyway, Don, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Curtis. Everybody hear me okay? All right. Perfect. Well, I'm really pleased to be here with you guys. I had a wonderful conversation with Curtis, and when he asked if I'd address you guys, I was happy to do so because I really feel that this is such a wonderful opportunity right now to take market share and really go forward with intention and a plan that enables you to really prosper. And so what my plan that I'm going to share with you, I call it your success journey, but it's essentially, and I know some of you are already doing very well, but this is a plan that could take somebody literally from day one in real estate to 3 sales a month in 3 years' time. And I'm sure that most of you are somewhere along that journey. And I believe what you will find from this plan is that wherever you are, it can help you to plus what you're doing now. And so, as Curtis has mentioned, and Tiffany as well, as I go through this deck, I'm going to attempt to present it in about 20 minutes. And then I encourage you during that time to put questions in the chat that might clarify some of the things that I'm saying. And then we'll have plenty of time to answer any and all of your questions. So happy to do that and pour into you guys. So Curtis, I'm guessing that I have screen share capability. Is that?
Check it at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
There we go. Good.
All right. So you guys should be seeing a slide right now that says your success journey. That thumbs up. Okay. So one of the things that Stephen Covey mentioned to us is to begin with the end in mind, and the end in this case being icon level producer. And we want to do that in 3 years' time. And so if we're going to go on this journey, the first thing that I want to encourage you to do is to choose your ideal client. And my personal favorite is a geographic niche. And when I think of the context of geographic, I want to encourage you to consider a zip code. That is not at all to say that you can't sell outside of your zip code, but it is, that makes a nice territory, so to speak. And the reason why I want you to really put some guardrails up on this is because this plan is intended to make you #1 in your market that you choose, right? So when I got into real estate, I actually relocated, and I moved to Long Beach. My dad was mentoring me, and I was very young. My first full year in real estate, by the way, was 1990. So that gives you some context. Uh, I was in a whole new area, big, bad Southern California. And so I chose to be a condominium specialist because I knew that if I could just learn the floor plans of 5 buildings, I would have a level of comfort. And since NAR tells us, besides trusting us being the number one reason why a consumer will choose us, local market knowledge is number 2. And I wanted to feel confident, even though I was young, that I had superior knowledge. And so that's where I started there. And then when I relocated back to my hometown, Sacramento, I chose a geographic niche. And since then, I've pretty much encouraged most of my people to do that. And I'm going to tell you why as we go through this presentation. So that being said, some of you have unique histories. I've got a lot of agents in my organization, for example, that have first responder or military backgrounds. That can be a fantastic niche. So if that's you, you can consider that as well. And then property type. Remember, this is where I started as a condominium specialist. But for the purpose of today's presentation, we're going to use geographic. And so once we choose our niche, then what we want to do is determine how are we going to reach our client, our ideal client. That's a phrase I want to encourage you to write down. By the way, when you're meeting a professional, music to their ears is, what would be an ideal client for you? Okay. And I want you to be able to answer that question. As a matter of fact, when we get done with the presentation, I'm going to call on a few of you to articulate what would be an ideal client for you. All right, so the headset ought to be a clue. We're going to reach out and we're going to call these folks, right? And there's a variety of ways that we will do that, but the phone is still a useful tool, even in spite of all the technology that we have today. We're going to put together a community network of professionals, of like-minded folks that are relationship-based, and that we can ask questions that will encourage them to introduce us or refer us. We're going to be calling on FSBOs, expireds, and for rents. And actually take a note on the FSBOs, we're going to actually have our lender calling the FSBO. And if we have the time, I'll go into that in a little more detail, but you'll be calling on expireds and for rents. And then we want to have a digital marketing campaign. So I told you a geographic parameters that I like are a zip code. And one of the things that very few people do, but it's valuable to do, is to download every homeowner in your market area and then match that electronically to phone and email and social media accounts like Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. And we're going to then be able to more effectively promote a lot of the things that we do, like open houses, for example. Well, when you do all of these things in the confines of one geographic area, let's say 10,000 rooftops, what it does is it creates a magnified effect. So everything that you're doing becomes more effective because they're seeing you through several different points of contact. Maybe they have been getting a postcard from you and then they come to one of your open houses. Or maybe they come to your open house and the timing's not right, but they've just begun their search. And then 6 months later, when they're ready to make a move, oh gosh, didn't we meet Don at the open house? And they make that connection and realize you're somebody that is really committed to that community. Okay, so I told you that we'd be doing some calling. And here is the foundation of what we want in that regard. So we want you to be making 25 calls a day. And the first 5, the foundation for everyone, I hope, is that you're calling 5 people in your sphere each day. So these are clients, by the way. If you refer to them as past clients, please stop that. I want you to think of them as clients for life, and your sphere of influence. And these are people that, a phrase I'd encourage you to write down is that I'm going to be a real estate resource with the intention of becoming their realtor of choice. The reason why I have chosen 5 a day is because in a quarter, there are roughly 60 working days, 20 per month. So if I take 300 people in my client and sphere of influence database, which I want also for you to think of it as your data bank. So my database becomes my data bank, right? 300 divided by 5 is 60. So I am able to personally, the key phrase here is personally, reach out and contact my sphere every 90 days. And I'm going to do that in a variety of ways. But my personal favorite is to reach out as a personal resource, because people only buy and sell about every 10 years unless they're investing. I want you to just call them and ask them if they need a painter, a plumber, a roofer, a landscaper. That's call number 1. Call number 2, is real estate part of their retirement strategy? And if so, what does that look like? Call number 3, are they living in their dream home? By the way, most people have a dream home, and news alert, they're not living in it. Have them describe that dream home to you in detail, and then just for fun, a couple weeks later, go find that property or one that looks just like it, send them a link and just say, hey, I was looking at some property, I came across this. Is this what you're looking at? Is this your dream? And be sure to let me know how I can help. And then number 4, invite them to an event. I'm going to be talking about how to do expert panel and economic panel Zoom events now, that since we're in the pandemic, or we were in the pandemic, and Zoom is all the rage, you have a unique opportunity to do that. Okay, but you're calling these 5 people, and you have now got a cadence with them so that you're reaching out to them every quarter. When you get more leads, whether you get them from open houses or any type of marketing that you do, and you find somebody that really is committed to being your client, that you are their realtor of choice, I want you to just top grade that 300 so it gets better and better and better. Recognizing that if people move every 10 years, 300 people, folks, that's 30 sales a year. Okay, that's 30 homeowners listing their properties. And by the way, when people sell their home, they typically don't go homeless. So you're going to have some buys there as well as referrals. So that's why we want you doing the 5. For the sake of our conversation, though, because math doesn't always work perfectly in real life, I want you to consider that this exercise is going to deliver to you 1 sale a month. Okay. Step 2 is you're going to be calling on expireds, for rents, and FSBOs. I believe, by the way, up until about May, expireds weren't really a thing because we had such limited inventory. Just as a little side note for some of you veterans, veterans in real estate, that is, when I sold real estate in the 90s, we had 18 to 24 months of inventory, quite a different world. In order for me to make my sales goals, I had to maintain over 30 active listings. So there were plenty of expireds. I got quite good at this, but there has not been, although we are trending in that direction. And I think 1 year from today, I think you're going to see that expireds are a real opportunity. I'm actually going to suggest that you don't call expireds in your entire county or MLS, but just in your zip code. And better yet, if you can go knock on their door, that's a plus. You may not have heard of calling on for rents. Incidentally, I'm going to introduce that to you today, perhaps. I did this quite a lot and had success with it. And it's a really easy script. I would just call up and let's say Curtis has a home for rent. I would just, it's ring, ring, ring. Hi. Yes, I'm calling about your 3-bedroom, 2-bath for rent on 234 Timberlake Lane. And they think at this point that, you're calling as a potential tenant. they tend to be nice in that first 15 seconds in this respect. And I just say, yeah, I'm just reaching out. I saw that you had your home for rent, and I was just curious, if you don't find a tenant that you'd be absolutely happy with, would you be open to selling it? And they'll say yes or no. And if they say no, I'm investing in this property, and then just say, well, fabulous. And when did you purchase it? And applaud them for their good timing. They've probably made a lot of money on it. Pretty much anybody that has bought real estate from 2013 till now is up. And then just say, well, it sounds like this is a great property for you. Would you like more? Right? And so then start campaigning to be their realtor of choice at that point. In regards to FSBOs, I'm curious to chat with you guys after if anybody's really good at FSBOs, but I am one tough dude, okay? But FSBOs scare the crap out of me. And scared isn't probably the right word. I would say that I really was not fond of calling FSBOs because as a driver personality, I don't want to be taken advantage of or taken for granted. And as a rule, not all, but many FSBOs don't hold us realtors in the highest regard. And so I just chose to opt out of that in most cases. But you know what I found? They're really super friendly to lenders. They actually need a lender 70% of the time. And so if your lender will just call on the FSBOs, and you can provide, Red X, Vulcan 7, there's a variety of services that can get you the data on FSBOs. As you are touring through your area, you'll see them as well. Just have the FSBO call. They're going to actually need a lender more than ever if they don't have a realtor involved. And the lender should be a person that is not only going to maintain the relationship with this FSBO, but offer some free marketing services to the FSBO. Ultimately, if the market gets a little tough, they'll fail. And then that loan officer will introduce you at an appropriate time. And keep in mind, by the way, the lender has a motive in this, because not just to assist you, odds are when the FSBO sells, they're going to buy another home. And so there's a loan opportunity for the lender. And also with any leads that come in, the lender's going to say, well, I'll ensure that you don't get tied up in a deal that where they can't perform. All right. And then finally, we want you doing an open house once a week. And so calling on 15 neighbors a day, 5 days a week, 75 in total, is a nice cadence to promote your open house that you're going to have that weekend. Okay, so there's a saying, which is, if it is not in the calendar, it does not exist. And so I just wanted to give you guys a sample week for an agent, and it looks something like this. You're doing your 25 calls from 9 to 11. On Saturday, you're going to door knock at least 25, hopefully 50 doors for your open house. You take 2 times during the week to preview homes, 2 to 4. And, I know you got some veterans out there that are going to say, oh, geez, I don't need to do that. I know the market and so forth. Okay. But I want you to know, by the way, even you veterans, if a brand new agent comes in to your market and they preview every home that has been sold, and when I say preview, I mean drive every single home that has been sold in that zip code in the last 6 months, either closed or pending, and then they preview, go inside of all the availables, and they keep that practice up, they're going to actually know that inventory better than you. Okay. So as a new agent, especially someone that doesn't have their license yet, this is an activity that I have them do. In 90 days, they can master that neighborhood. They can have a feel and understanding of the values better than 99% of the agents. And then doing an open house, say 1 to 5, 12 to 4, whatever you feel is best, but hopefully at least 4 hours. And I don't know how many signs you guys have up, but here's one challenge that I have for you. is I told you that I want your lenders calling on your FSBOs. Well, there's two other things that I want those lenders to do. One is have the branch provide you with a $200 gift certificate for your open house, not just for you, but they do the drawing once a month. And when people come in, you hand them a clipboard with a form on it, and it captures their two. And by the way, this clipboard has a pin attached to it by a string, and you get their name, phone, and email. Do they want to buy or sell? And you have them rate the home. This is a way of capturing all the information of the people that come in. Typically 80–85% of the people will give you all that information, even if they're working with another agent, which oftentimes they are, and even more often they tell you they are. And so you'll capture that. And by the way, in order to ensure that you get a good showing and that you're branding yourself in the neighborhood, we want you to hire a service with the lender to put up and take down 25 signs. Okay, you heard me correctly. I said 25. Okay, not 4 to 6, not 10 to 12. Okay, now I know that's more than is needed. The reason why we have you putting up 25 signs, or we have you hiring a service to do that, and by the way, it'll cost you probably $150 to $200. So if you're splitting that cost equally with the lender, it'll probably be 75 bucks each. So 300 for a month if you're doing one a week. And it's because even with all of today's technology, the way that the consumer perceives the market leader is based on who has the most signs in the neighborhood. So the majority of people are not going to be coming to your open house to see your signs, but we want them to see your brand. Okay. The builders have been doing this for decades, you guys. Let's get on the bandwagon here and let's dominate this market. So 25 signs up and down. By the way, in case some of you are so brave to think that you actually want to do this and save the money, please don't bother. Number one, I don't want you to run over. Number two, it takes 2 hours to put these suckers up, and it takes 2 hours to take them down. Okay, so I see Tom shaking his head. Yes, Tom, Tom looks like he's in good shape, and he's probably done this. Stop that, Tom. Have you been putting up 25 signs?
So what's interesting, Don, is we do an open house mastermind on Mondays, and the minimum that we talk about is 50 signs. And
wow.
the time it allocates to do that versus the rewards of the closing financially it really outweighs the time and the labor involved to put those signs out.
Yeah, well, obviously you're a believer in that, which is great. I just want to suggest to you that you can hire somebody to do it, and there's a better use of your time, right? And you know, you can pay somebody 35 bucks an hour, and if you're splitting that cost with the lender, I mean, here's the numbers on open houses, and Tom, you can tell me if I'm wrong on this or not, but my experience and that of my agents is this: if 20 people come into the open house that you meet personally, you're going to get a deal. Okay, you're not going to get a deal tomorrow or the next day, and maybe not the next month, but the pipeline will build up, and then you'll start showing property, and that funnel will start converting in about 90 days. And with our system, what happens is, remember, the lender, the branch is paid for the drawing, the $200 gift certificate for a fine restaurant in that market. And then on Monday morning, you take your 10 to 12 to 14 registers from the open house, put them into a PDF, and you send them to the lender. Well, guess what? The lender calls them on Monday. You know what's going to happen? You know those people that said that they were working with another agent? It turns out they just emailed or text another agent. Okay. The lender, by the way, pre-qual 101 is, do you have a home that you're going to need to sell first? And when they say yes, they're going to say, well, and do you have it listed on the market now? If they say yes, okay, well, then they're probably working with another agent. If they say no, you know what he's going to do, or she's going to do? they're going to book an appointment for Tom. Okay, I've trained loan officers on this and done it successfully myself. The realtor has the Calendly link for the lender at the open house. They book appointments for them there. And on Monday, the loan officer, when they call, they say, well, I know that you met Tom briefly at the open house. I don't know if he mentioned to you, but one of the things that he does is help homeowners optimize their home for sale. So he'll come out at no cost or obligation and show you what you could do to get the best value for your home, and also what you probably don't need to bother with. And he'll give you a free market evaluation of the property as well. Would you like me to reintroduce you and schedule a time for him to come by? It's a really easy question for them. And they actually, believe it or not, they will book listing appointments for you. It's really fun. All right, moving on. One of the things, in addition to signage, a lot of the signing, there is a correlation between number of signs in the neighborhood and the people that show up at the open house. But admittedly, there's a diminishing return when it goes over 10 or 12. Again, that's not the primary reason we're doing this. We're putting out the 25 signs because we want the branding recognition. But another thing that you can do, okay, a zip code, average zip code in the US has about 10,000 homes in it. You download the entire, you get a service like Title Toolbox, propertyradar.com. You download every home in there, you match it to phone and email, and then you match it to social accounts, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. And then when you're going to do your open house, you get about a 35% match rate, and you drop the open house invitation into their news feed on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, leading up to the campaign. It's pennies, guys. It's like 35, 40 bucks to do this. But think about this. You're doing this open house and it's dropping into the Facebook newsfeed of 3,000 plus residences in that neighborhood. Do you think that people are going to realize that you're the realtor in that area? Remember, you're calling 75 people and you're knocking 50 doors. Depending on the neighborhood, this takes at least an hour to do. Again, like FSBOs, I was not a really big fan of door knocking, but you know what? I don't mind door knocking for open houses because I have found people to be very friendly. If I didn't walk up to the door and said, yes, do you want to buy or sell? But instead said, hi, I'm doing an open house for your neighbor down the street. We have some food to offer, and we're doing a drawing for Ruth Chris. You're welcome to come by. And oh, by the way, how do you like being in the neighborhood? What brought you here? And are you settled in here a while? And if you ever were to move, where would you go? When would you go? Why would you go? And again, position the 25 signs and have a service do that for you. All right, so one of the things that we strive to do is make it easier for our agents, because you know, a lot of these moving parts, this is a system, as you see. You can hire virtual assistants to do this, but make sure if you are going to do this, like having somebody put up the signs, you have a digital resource that can do this, but they can get that data set. Here's something you guys may not be fully aware of. I've got agents that are putting homeowners today into FHA VA loans. I have one agent last month that put a client into a VA assumable at 2.65, $590,000 assumption. I've got another one that did it at 3.75, okay? If you've got clients, by the way, you want to get a quick deal, just call up a lender and ask them if they have any borrowers that they've pre-qualified in the last 6 months that have been priced out of the market that could qualify with a sub 4% loan. Any lender worth their salt has a half a dozen of these, okay? And just say, well, I have a solution for them. What area do they want to buy in? Oh, they want to buy in this area. Go into Property Radar, pull it up and just say, well, between FHA and VA. You could also do it with USDA, but it's harder to get the access to those data records. There are 57 properties that are in their price range in their geographic area that have sub 4% loans. If you want to introduce me to those folks, I will personally reach out to each and every one of those people and hopefully get them into a deal. When you're going out and doing your previewing, by the way, even better than calling is just to stop. And even a FSBO, by the way, if you are a realtor, instead of telling the FSBO how stupid they are to be selling their home themselves, start the conversation more off like, when you do sell your home, where will you go? And may I be of some assistance in that regard? Do you already have an agent? Maybe you can get a referral fee if nothing else. By the way, if you do connect them, you know that agent in that relocating city is going to maintain the relationship for the FSBO for you. So this is a great strategy as well. We already talked about matching to Facebook accounts and aligning with the lender on the open house campaign. All right, so what's going to happen? I'm assuming, remember, that we started this journey with 0 transactions, brand new agent. First year, you're going to be able to do a deal a month. Year 2, 2. Year 3, 3. So follow this plan. You're going to be an icon level producer in 3 years' time. You guys will have a minute to, in a few minutes, you can debate me on this, but I'm going to suggest that if you do what I've described here, you're going to be an icon. All right, so let's summarize our journey. We defined our ideal client. Remember, I'm going to be quizzing you guys on this in a moment. We determined how to reach them. Remember that if it's not on the calendar, it does not exist. We time block our prospecting 10 hours a week, 2 hours a day, before noon. And here's something I want to add. If you can afford a coach, that is awesome. If you can't, I want you to at least get an accountability partner. And here's a couple things that we want with that partner. They should be somebody that is doing what you want to do. So if you're just beginning, they're doing 1 sale a month. If you're doing 1, you want them doing 2. If they're doing 2, you want them doing 3. Okay. If they're doing 3, if you want 3, then you want somebody that's also building a sales organization on top of being an icon. The point is they're 1 step ahead of you. You daily text them accountability. You do it for just 90 days. You tap for 30 minutes once a week, and they're in a referral market to you. I want you to think about what's the most logical referral market to me. So for Sacramento, the Bay Area would be a very logical area, for example. In the Northeast, an agent in Florida would be a logical referral market, right? So, and I want you to change your accountability partner every 90 days because you become too familiar. Plus, you don't want to put too much of a burden on one person. And this is a great way to stay on track. So you do all that. We got you now at a $250,000 earned income. You're at partner level at EXP. You've achieved the Icon Award, and you're getting your entire cap back in stock each production year. And that is a wrap. All right. So how did we do on time?
Hey, Don.
Yes, sir.
Don, thank you for this and your time, and even being on the West Coast and being present with being prepared to deliver such massive value. And we know your time is extremely valuable, and we so appreciate you being here this morning. The impact that we need to make on people is to give everything that we learn to help them become more successful, because the more we do that, the more we grow personally. And your background in the industry is a blessing to us, because you've been through market crashes, you've been through corrections, you've been through high interest rates, and you've succeeded for 33 years through it, right? So
this is my third rodeo, by the way. This
That's
is my
it.
third
That's it.
correction.
Third one. So I want to say thank you to you, and I'm going to hand this over to Curtis and put myself on mute because I'll talk forever. Some key targets that I got today from you was you begin with the end in mind. Again, I hear John Maxwell always say this: is success is not what we do, not at the end of the journey. It's the daily things that we do to get to that journey. And go and preview the homes. Constantly previewing homes through builders and everything else is such a entry level thing that even seasoned agents should be doing, to say, I'm not too good to clean the toilets in the office because I've done my time. No, right now is the time to get out there and do what's necessary. So thank you, Don and Curtis. I know there's a lot of questions in the chat box, and I appreciate your time.
I'd rather just give everybody the opportunity to ask Don questions. I don't need to talk.
Yeah, so why don't you guys go into the reaction pit, raise your hand, and then we'll be, because I don't want to have to scroll back. Or Curtis, can you look in the chat box and go back and see who asked the first question, and you can address it, or tell me who was asking that so I can address it to them. All right, Bill, did I see you raising your hand, or were you just scratching?
Just scratching.
Okay.
Property Radar, you said Property Radar. That is that an app or is that a .com? Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, that's a .com.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
and that is where we can put in. Sounds like we can put in certain types of criteria and have all those names pull up.
Yeah, and by the way, they have filters that'll blow your mind. I think for 99 bucks a month, not only are you going to be able to download your entire county and all of the homeowners, identify the FHA, VA assumables, you're going to be able to match to demographic information, income. They have something like 200 filters. It's insane. The data.
So just my zip code has something like, just my zip code has something like 30,000 people, but I'm assuming with the ability to filter, you're going to bring that number down to a very, very target rich environment.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Now, one of the things with 30,000, you probably end up matching to Facebook counts at a rate of about 35%. So one thing that will be fun is when you do an open house, you're going to be able to drop into the newsfeed of 10,000 Facebook accounts in your zip. Okay.
Now, does the Property Radar do that, or do you need to do that manually?
No, you need to do it. But there's, I'm sure all of us have been solicited by 100 digital marketing companies. It's not rocket science. It's really easy to do. Perfect. Just make sure that you understand, if a digital marketing company is doing that, what percentage of the money that you are giving them is for the cost of the service versus the service that they're providing. If it's not at least 50%, you need to find another digital marketing company, right? So if you're spending $50, 25 of it should be to Facebook to drop it into the newsfeed.
All right, Fred, thank you for this morning.
You bet. Fred, how can I help you?
Hey, Don, how are you doing, man? Hey, awesome. That was fantastic. I love the simplicity. They just bang, 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 bang. It was great. Now, you said something of personal. You said this is your third go around. Is that what I heard you say? What do you mean by that?
It's my third market correction.
Oh, correction. Oh, the market correction. Oh, I got it. And how long have you been practicing?
My first full year was 1990.
1990. Wow. Look at that, folks. And see, still learning and growing and changing. And I see you're a part of Success Coaching, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. When did you do that program?
I got certified in August.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I've had a coaching company since 2010. I went through their certification, which I was like, oh, geez, I got to go through a certification. I've been coaching for more than a decade, but you know what? I learned a ton. It was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And so well worth it.
Yeah. That's amazing. I always love meeting people. I'm in my 45th year that are always green and growing, because the opposite of that is you're ripe and you're rotten. And, that's what we encourage everybody. Most of the people on the call don't need that message, but it's the ones that are not on the call. But thank you so much. And you still have time to catch the sunrise, I think, right? 5:30 in the morning. I love it. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm curious though, Fred, I suggested a strategic alliance with a lender on a couple levels. One was to call the FSBOs. Another is, and by the way, when I say sponsor a drawing, I'm talking about a branch. So think, a whole county market area, and they buy one $200 gift certificate per month, and then all of the LOs in that branch and all of their realtor relationships have access to the drawing. Is that a reasonable request for a realtor to make of a lender strategic alliance?
Well, I think it's beyond reasonable. I mean, I think it's very, very reasonable. And that's one of the things that in my onboarding now with agents coming in is one of the things I tell them is you should not be paying for any marketing as a realtor, even if you're new. Because if you develop a really good business plan and take it to any lender, the lender I have up as a sponsor, for instance, I reach out to people, they sponsor my entire office. And so I took a different route. I had a partnership and a mortgage. I didn't want to do it. I had people wanting me to open up a franchise. I just reach out and, and develop relationships. So I love what you said. And any lender. And the thing is, though, you need to have a business plan together. If you take Tom Martin's business plan or Curtis's business plan, and you take it then a lender and say, let me show you how serious I'm about my business. What budget could you create? I just did one yesterday with a title company for one of my agents because he's serious. He gave him a whole 1-year plan, said, this is what I'll do. And the owner of the title company said, I'm in. So get serious. And I love that. I thought it was smart.
Yeah, fantastic.
Don, you got
Yes.
a couple of questions. Thanks, Fred. So you've got a couple of questions in the chat. So one, and I think if I get this right, if not, Holly, you're going to have to come off mute. But Holly Barrett asked assumables. What were you referring to when you were talking about assumables?
Yeah, FHA and VA loans are assumable. It's not a simple assumption, it's a qualifying assumption. And if you really want to take that niche seriously, you probably want to encourage your mortgage company to get one of their processors to offer that as a service, because it's no joke to get one of these things approved. They're going to require a package, just like if someone was doing a new loan. But with FHA VA, they are not supposed to unreasonably refuse someone that is qualified to assume that loan. And even though if you call them and say, hey, can this loan be assumed? They are not going to be like a typical lender. Hey, yeah, I'll help you. They will begrudgingly do it. That's why I'm encouraging you to get a processor. We're at an interesting stage right now. I don't know, some of us were around in my second correction when the crash happened in 2007, and there were a lot of short sales. In the beginning of that, it was not easy, folks. I mean, it was really hard to persuade the lenders to work with us to close those deals. But you know what? Eventually, they actually got on board. And I've actually talked to people that were closing over 100 short sales per month, right? Now, they had a team helping them do that. So the point is that it's a real opportunity, and it's an opportunity for you to take someone that's been priced out of the market and put them into a loan that's sub 5, sub 4, well, in one case, sub 3%. Does that answer the question?
I think so.
Okay.
Looks like Krista has her hand up. Krista.
Go ahead, Krista.
Yes, hi there. Good morning. Thank
Hi.
you for this. This is amazing. About the Facebook matching from Property Radar, because I have Property Radar, I download the list and I have a VA. So how do you match people, or do you upload a list and create lists on Facebook?
Yeah, so what it is, because Facebook, with all the trouble they got themselves in past years, they don't allow you to geo-target now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the hack to get around that is to create your own custom list.
Right.
And than have a digital marketing company. It's you could probably learn yourself. Actually, you know what I would do? I haven't done this, but I will do this after this call. But I would just go on YouTube and I would look for a video on matching data, creating a custom list for Facebook. If you're a do-it-yourself type person.
Right.
But any digital marketing company worth their salt can do it. It's a very simple exercise.
Okay.
It was,
I was just wondering if when you said,
no more complicated than taking an Excel file and importing it into KV Core.
right. Yeah, I was just wondering when you said match him, I thought, are you friending all these people? No, right? You
Oh,
can't.
no.
No, okay.
No, you're taking a list, because the thing that you have to be aware of is when you're matching to names and phones and emails and addresses, that what they have in their Facebook account, like I have multiple email addresses, for example. So if your email that you have for me is different than the email that I use for Facebook, you're not going to get a match, right?
Right.
So that's why you're only going to get about a 30% match rate. Does that make sense?
Okay. Thank you. Yes, makes sense. Thank you.
You bet. All right, Debbie.
I just wanted to share real quickly, and I'd be happy to do a training on this. When you upload the custom list to Facebook that has all of the data fields, Facebook looks at those people and says, let's see, Don Yoakum with this email and this address. I'm pretty sure that's the Don Yoakum that's in California. But if Don's email is some obscure email that Facebook doesn't know Don has, Facebook goes, well, we have 6 Don Yoakums that live in Sacramento, so we're not 100% sure which Don Yoakum you're uploading here. So we're going to actually, and this is all behind the scenes, it happens automatically. We're just going to say, we're not 100% sure that the Don Yoakum you uploaded is the Don Yoakum. So we're going to say, we don't know who that is. So they're going to say that's not a match. And so what Don shared was, automatically, when you upload the list, Facebook will say, can we, with a reasonable amount of certainty, say that this is the Don Yoakum that you're looking for? And if the answer is yes, they'll allow you to market to that Don Yoakum. If they're uncertain, they say, we can't match. It's automatic. You upload the list, they go, oh, we found 35% of the people you uploaded. We're 100% confident that we know who you're talking about. So when you run an ad to that list, we're going to show it to these 35 people or 35% that we've correctly identified. And it is, as by the way, uploading to KV Core, it is simple, but we all know it's not. If you have the template and you can copy and paste correctly, it'll work. Same thing with Facebook. I'm happy to do a training, Tom, if there's enough demand on pulling the list, getting it formatted right, uploading it to Facebook, and then how to run the ad. And it is simple enough that even a realtor could do it. It depends on, do you want to spend the time doing that, learning what a good ad looks like, doing that posting, or do you want to hire a service like an agency that you can say, here's the list, you do it, here's who I want, here's my open house this week, you run the ad, right? It's about leverage.
Yeah, and just to kind of wrap up that subject, after you've matched it, and as Krista said, it is probably going to be about a 35% match rate. A digital marketing company where they can come in handy is when people actually click on that ad, they will be identifying themselves by IP addresses. So a digital marketing company can then put that person on a retargeting campaign, and all of a sudden they're going to see you wherever they go. So there's some other fun things that you can do, or a digital marketing company could do, that take that even to another level. Somebody needs to mute.
I'm working on it. There we go.
Okay, I know we're probably up against the hour here. Is there 1 or 2 last questions before we wrap up? Simon raised his hand. Go ahead, Simon.
Hi, Don. Thank you for getting up. There's a lot of digital marketing companies out there that they could say they could do this and all that. Do you already have some previous experience on who's actually working that you could recommend in the chat?
There's a company called Be Known Advertising out of California that does a good job. But some of your leaders are definitely going to have contacts for different digital marketing companies, and there's certainly some that are better than others. Some that, like I said, you want to be really clear with them on what percentage of the money that you're giving them is actually being spent on advertising versus on their labor and service. So it's an important qualifying question. Twanda, go ahead.
Yes, hi, thank you. Could you just repeat call number 2 when reaching out to your sphere?
Sure. Yeah, so I would call you up, Twanda, and I would just say, Twanda, am I saying your name correctly?
Yes, you are, thank you.
Okay. So Twanda, I know I helped you get into your home, and I hope you're happy there. How's it going? And, you would say, great, Don, we do need a painter or whatever, but, you tell me great. And I say, that being said, I don't think we have ever talked about whether or not you considered real estate part of your retirement strategy.
That's it, thank you.
Okay. And I'm just curious, is that part of your plan? And if so, what does that look like? I might have a client, for example, say to me, well, Don, by the time I'm 60 years old, I want to have 5 rentals paid off free and clear with, 1.5 million in equity and $10,000 in monthly cash flow. And we then evaluate where they are today, which is something else, you guys. Remember I said your database is your data bank? Okay. A database is not a place where you just know name, phone, email, are they a buyer or are they an owner? Are they a renter or an owner, and their address, okay? You're hoping that your clients are going to give you referrals, okay? Raise your hand right now if you have the occupation of everyone in your database. Okay. I don't see a lot of hands going up. Okay. Why is it that you would expect your clients in your sphere to refer you when you don't even know what they do and what would be an ideal referral for them? So one of the things that you want to do, when I call Tawanda, I want to ask her about her career, and I want to ask her what would be an ideal referral for her. Right? And I want to connect her to referral sources if I can, right? That's the way you're going to have, by the way, those 300 people, okay, they move every 10 years. That's 30 sales. But let me tell you something. If you become a person that under promises and over delivers, you're going to open up another gold mine. And that gold mine is that each one of those 300 people know 150 people. They know 15 people that are buying and selling every single year, okay? When you do what you say, that enables you to do business with them again. But if you want to reach that second treasure trove, you've got to under promise and over deliver. And one way of doing that is actually getting them a referral. All right, last question to David.
Thank you.
You bet.
Hey, thanks a lot. So my phone was breaking up a little bit when you were explaining the process of getting in with the title company. I'd love for you to just briefly talk on that game plan again, the presentation, to let them know you're serious and to get them to commit.
Yeah, and actually, rather title companies, it depends on the state, but in California, they don't do anything these days because of some SB 130 law or whatever. But in some states, they're able to help out more.
Maybe it was a lender. It was breaking up. I couldn't tell who you were talking about.
Yeah, it's a lender.
Okay.
Okay, 3 things that you want the lender doing. Okay, number 1, you want them providing a drawing for the open house. $200 per month. Not just for your open house, but for all their LOs in their branch and all the realtor relationships. It does not degrade your drawing at all. Number two, you want them to split the cost of putting up and taking down 25 signs for your open houses. Number three, you want them on Monday calling every person that visited, and not some ISA telemarketer. You want your loan officer calling everyone that visited the open house. If you spent your weekend doing a 4-hour open house, by golly, they can spend 1 hour calling the 10 people that came, okay? Actually, there was a fourth thing, and that was there to call every FSBO in your zip code. And by the way, they might call every FSBO in the entire county, and you're totally fine if they give the other FSBOs to other realtor relationships. So those are 4 things I'd have my lender doing.
Got it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah, and actually, I lied. There's a 5th thing. I'm gonna do. Then we'll close up. The other thing is, once in a quarter, I recommend with your local networking community, you do one expert panel, like how to buy a second home, turn it into an Airbnb, add an ADU, whatever. Okay, and usually a realtor and lender on that panel. So when you do a panel event with a series of local community experts, there's usually 4 people on a panel. The admission to be on that panel is everyone has to promote it to their database. So if the lender has 300 people in their database or 3,000, they send it to that and try to drive people to the Zoom event. Guess what? There's only one realtor on that panel, baby. So now that loan officer has put you in front of 500 of their clients, okay? All right, Curtis, I think that's a wrap.
Don, I can't stop writing. You have to stay up for us. Go get some coffee or something. This is too good. No, thank you.
Yeah,
Don, we so
absolutely. My
appreciate
pleasure.
your time. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm heading to the gym. I'm not going to come out looking like Tom, but I'm heading to the gym anyway, brother.
Tom, yeah, he's I don't even know. He's a great guy though.
I go to
It's
the
awesome.
gym. I go to the gym as often as I can to get in the best shape that I can to be teased by the Curtises in the world. That's my mission. Don, thank you. Curtis, I cannot thank you enough. And everyone that stayed on this call throughout the whole thing. I'm confident if you just take one thing and put it into action, it's going to make a massive difference in your business. Don took his time to spend 1 hour with us, and his time is extremely valuable. And we're very appreciative of that, and grateful for the opportunity to have you here today. So thank you, Don, and we wish you nothing but great, huge success in the future. I look forward to meeting you at the shareholders meeting, shaking your hand.
Sounds good.
I too, former 17-year KW, 9.5-year team leader. That's why I have blonde hair again. So
nice. Yeah, see you in Orlando. And by the way, Tom, if you want to reach out in the meanwhile and just to collaborate, feel free to do so. Curtis has my information.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Don.
You guys got to roll. See you.
Bye-bye. Curtis, nice job today, bud. Amazing. The value that has been coming to these calls has been absolutely amazing for these agents. Fred, bringing Nolly and the talent that you bring in with Debbie and Friday calls. It's just you just don't get this anywhere. To get in front of a Don Yoakum and a Nolly and a Debbie Weller and the people we're in front of on a regular basis, you don't get that. I'm telling you, take advantage of every opportunity you have to be surrounded by high-minded, big thinkers who have failed numerous times to create a pathway of success for you. Look at Stevie. He's got his whole group in there.
We do. Real quick, whoever set that up, total appreciation. If that was
That was me. I did it all.
Yeah, we sure you did. I was about to tell everybody you eat ice cream every night. So be careful.
Steve.
Yeah.
Hey, let me give you my address. They call me Cash.
Oh, buddy. Hey, thank you very much. Huge value. So real appreciative, and it seems like a great guy and definitely knows his stuff. So thank you, Curtis.
No, my pleasure. It's true story. So, again, as I shared, I was speaking with another leader with an EXP, and they said, hey, I went to this thing and he had presented, and they said you should reach out to him. So I was like, sure, I'll reach out to him. So wound up calling him. He spent an hour with me, and I was like, this is incredible. Will you please, actually what I said to him was, can I take your presentation and share it with my people? And he goes, no, but I'll get on the Zoom and I'll share it with your people. And I said, it's at 8:30 in the morning. Are you sure? And he goes, yeah, I'm up at 5:30. So I'm like, cool, do this. Let's do this. So we booked
Yeah.
it ASAP.
And it's just a simple plan, but it's sticking to that plan and carrying it through, right? And everybody on this call can be iconing in 3 years. That's all they got to do. Forget all the shiny objects, forget all the other jazz. That's it.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking at this plan and he's saying 3 years. I'm thinking it's way sooner.
Possibly. Yeah, possibly. Well, thank you. Guys, have a great weekend.
You too.
Talk to you soon.
All right, bud. Hey, everyone, there's a lot of note takers in this today. And there's some people that missed some notes. So if you can go into Workplace on today's recorded call and drop your notes or photos or screenshots, that would be huge appreciated. Sometimes there's things that we miss in the call that someone else captures. Send a thank you to Don Yoakum through Messenger, Facebook. Give them some ahas that you got out of today's call. It only helps us become better when we get acknowledgement or recognition of what we delivered. So share your aha, share your notes, share all your screenshots on our Workplace for today's recorded call. That'll help others as well. So,
Hey, Tom, I just
Yeah.
have a quick tip. After your first year and you've closed 12, go back to your lender and see if you can't get them to write a bigger check. Like he said, split the sign install and split this and da da da. Lenders, if you're feeding them, they're gonna be, I don't know they'll do it if you don't have a relationship with them, but I don't think it's unrealistic if you're consistently bringing your lender deals to go back and say, hey, I know you're paying half of the sign install. Will you pay all of it? Right? That it's just an opportunity. I think they'll do it when you don't have any transactions. You just might be able to get more leverage as you become more successful.
And Deb, can I say one thing to this? And this is just me, and I'm going to say it, and I'm going to be very blunt about it. Some of you may not agree, and that's okay. If you are asking a lender to participate with you and you are not giving them any business, shame on you, user. Okay, there you go. That's my words for you. If you are going to ask a lender to do something for you and you have no consideration of a return, you're a taker and you are not a giver and you are not a team player. There's no win-win in there. That is awful. I personally, when I ran big offices, one lender, one title company, you're not coming through my door. Ask Dwayne Hudo, he will tell you. And by the way, he's our biggest partner with Jake right now. One, you don't need to have 3 lenders for RESPA compliance. You need three inspectors. I do business with one person at the highest level, and I get treated like a king. So please understand that right there. And one title company, one of my great friends, Talisha, I love her to death. She gives the best service. She gets 0 deals from me. I have a relationship. I don't go, oh, let me just do one. No, we're committed in a business relationship. Just think about that, guys. Take that however you want it. Maybe that was just too forceful. I don't know, but that's just who I am. I don't believe in going, hey, can I get a gift card for you for $200? My other lender's on vacation. I can't get in touch with them. By the way, I'll never call you again, and I could care less what happens in your business. No.
Tom, don't worry about it. We love you the way you are. Don't sugarcoat it. Just put it in our face and choke the crap out of us. That's what you do. We appreciate it.
And vice versa. If you have a lender who won't call for sale by owners on Monday and won't do the other things that he recommended, then that's not the right lender, because they should also be willing to help you because you're helping them. Now, Holly says that's tough. Not all lenders have products. It's about having a primary relationship, Holly, with one person who can do the majority of your deals. Do you periodically have to go to another lender because there's a product that your buyer doesn't have? Yes, but it's about having someone that can do 70% of your transactions, and a couple other lenders, that couple other lender that has a special product is also not going to write a check for you because you're only giving them one-offs, right? So but it's about having one person you have a great relationship that can service the majority of your people. And then if you need a specialty lender, having a couple other relationships.
Debbie, great point. Here's what I've been able to really kind of pull together is my primary lender that we recommend has a relationship with 3 other lenders. One that they can do stuff out of state with, one they can do commercial stuff with, and one they can do manual underwriting with that they cannot do. So other lenders have relationships with other lenders. I give them the first opportunity to say, well, who do you know, and have the relationship to do this, or vice versa. So thank you, Curtis, for always supporting me.
Just so you guys know, Debbie and I and DJ always give Tom crap for getting on his soapbox and preaching like he preaches.
Oh, he does.
But we actually appreciate him for that, right? Like, we don't need him to sugarcoat it. This is business.
And by the way, I get it in your face kind of thing too, guys. So Curtis will call me, text me and go, hey, you made a big preach about making phone calls. Have you made your calls yet? So I get it too, guys. And Steve Pugh the other day, he said, hey, Tom, what are you doing? I said, I'm getting ready to go to the gym. He goes, it's 1:30. He goes, you need to make your calls. He goes, I'm going to make calls with you. I said, all right. So having a group of accountability people around you who want to see you succeed just as much as you want to see them succeed is extremely important, because we all go through it. I'll tell you, there's times where I don't want to pick up that call, that phone, because I'm tired of being yelled at or whatever. But I now look at it as an opportunity to go, hey, you know what? They don't need my services today. I'll reach back out to them another time. Every time I make that call, I know that it's a follow-up call regardless of the conversation.
Hey, Tom, I just want to say, just add my 2 cents here, is that a lot of the things that Don said, I want you to think about before you go out and work and call that lender, because just think about it. When you call that lender, say, what can I do for you? How can we work together? Not what are you going to do for me? I'm calling to see, what are you going to do for me? So make sure that you are building a relationship. You, like Tom said, you're not just reaching out and saying and grabbing what's going to work for you. That should be a long-term relationship.
Yeah. Plan it out. Listen, get with someone who does it at a very high level and just say, hey, how do you work with your lender? And most lenders will make those calls to those for sale by owners. Also, you can set a lender partner up in your KV core. So anytime leads come through, they can make the phone call. Tell them, hey, you're my preferred lender in my KV core. So they get a free KV core account where they can make notes and make the phone calls and everything else too. Okay. So those of you who probably didn't know that, you can add them to your KV core as your preferred lender to your database. So. All right, Tiffany, Curtis, Debbie, DJ, anything input? I'm turning it over to you guys.